Running a religious education department presents a range of challenges to secondary schools, as Deborah Weston, an RE advisor and head of department, knows well.
I think there are four main things you need to focus on when you're a head of department. The first thing is your strategic leadership. So you have to know exactly where you're going and you need to set yourself a clear pace. The second thing is teaching and learning. You must never lose sight of the fact that it's all about learning. The third thing is leading and managing your team. And the last thing you have to focus on is resources.
In this programme, we will look at how Marlbury School for Girls in central London focuses on these key elements in running its RE department. Marlbury is a large inner-city London school with beacon status. It is a single-sex, non-faith school, even though its intake is over 98% Bengali Muslim. The senior management team takes a long-term approach to developing the department.
I think that's a really important thing for a head of department to do, to actually have a clear strategic view for the subject. I think one of the fundamental mistakes new heads of department make is they try to do everything in a very short period of time. All that tends to achieve is the teacher getting very tired and exhausted. So I think if you've got a 3 or 5 year plan that says, well, I'm going to do this in the first year and then this in the second year, you can do some things, you can do each thing very well as opposed to trying to rush lots of change through.
Part of Marlbury's strategy was to make GCSE RE compulsory for all pupils. Their results speak for themselves. They get 73% for short course A star to C and 84% for full course A star to C.
I think it was quite a brave thing to do when it first happened, to make religious education compulsory for all students, because we already had it in the agreed syllabus. But not all of the schools in the authority went along with that requirement. So it was really important for our department's development to make religious education an exam subject for all. And I don't think the senior management team have really looked back from that decision, because the examination results have been superb.
They see the success of Key Stage 4 as being rooted in their approach at Key Stage 3. And a core element of this is a commitment to taking learning out of the classroom. Today, the girls of Year 9 are going on a visit to a Hindu temple and then a mosque.
I think it's useful because we should learn about other religions.
We're going to a temple today, and I'm kind of excited because it's the first time we're going to go to a temple and find out more about the temples and how they worship. But we went to a cathedral last year, and that was really good because I've never been to a big church, so that was really fun, and we found out more about Christian religion as well.
Yeah, I mean, trips like the one we're doing today, they are very, very valuable, and the kids get a great deal from them. They remember them, and you can really build on them in the classroom.
People get very anxious about planning trips, but there's very clear guidelines now set out that tell you how to plan a trip, protecting you and protecting the children. And so long as you follow those guidelines, and so long as you get the support of your senior management team in making sure you follow those procedures, then it really isn't an issue. And I think, quite honestly, for religious education, to try and offer a scheme of work without trips, and you're really doing the children a disservice. And in the national framework, it's set out as a clear expectation for the children that they will go out on trips.
Do you know what we call the temple in Indian language? Who can tell me? Who said mandir?
Pupils sometimes come to religious education with particular views and particular ideas about a faith. So going out on a trip allows pupils to meet members of the faith, to talk to people, to see them worshipping.
I would recommend that you use this time to ask any questions at all.
Don't be shy, this is the only chance you got today. You won't have another chance again.
How many Hindus are there in the UK?
In UK? I think it's more than 500,000 now. More than 500,000, yeah?
What are the 5 spiritual vows of the Swaminarayan faith?
Okay, the spiritual vows are a lust-free life, a lifetime celibacy, ego-free, taste-free, attachment-free.
One of the really valuable parts of going on a trip, which you can't always achieve in a classroom, is the changing attitudes aspect of it. And that can have a really powerful impact on pupils' attitudes to that religion, and of course to the members of that religion.
Okay. So, as I said before, I'm Jenny, and I'm training to be a priest in the Church of England.
Alongside their programme of trips, the department also develops direct links with other faith communities by inviting guest speakers like this trainee priest into school.
talk to what is baptism. It's a sacrament, absolutely, good. Okay, there's another sacrament that's mentioned.
One of the reasons why I think religious education has really come on very well in the last few years has been the recognition that we have so much to offer the curriculum. Now, if you look at Bloom's taxonomy, for example, and you look at that hierarchy of thinking skills, you see that many of the skills that we've been promoting in RE forever, basically, things like evaluation, synthesis, analysis, those higher order thinking skills have been part of our GCSE criteria, for example. So RE is already well established in developing those kind of thinking skills.
I was surprised how much they knew already. The sacraments, for example, which is a very difficult concept to get your head round, and to have a knowledge of it and to be able to say, okay, baptism and Eucharist, just to be familiar with those two. So that, I was really impressed with that.
But as you've seen already,
Marlbury has a team of 5 specialists in its RE department. Anne Fater is joint head of the department and believes its success is down to the strengths of the individual teachers.
We need to educate not just pupils, but we need to educate fellow members of staff. So, well, look, this is what RE is about. Every team has individual members that have their individual strengths, and I think it's recognising what those strengths are and valuing them and allowing opportunities for staff to develop their strengths.
Stephen Smith is one of the newest members of the RE department and has brought with him valuable experience of ICT.
The school has invested enormously, and the governors have said everybody will have an interactive whiteboard. For me, it helps so much in life. It cuts out the donkey work. Only one person has to do a good piece of ICT and we can all use it. And I think also when young people look at a screen, they concentrate in the way that maybe when I was young you concentrated when you looked at a book. And so if you're not using ICT, it's very difficult.
ICT is a really important tool that can be used by the RE teacher. The important thing to remember, I think, is to make sure that it's ICT working to support the religious education objectives, not the other way round, so that you're spending all your time teaching ICT skills.
We need to promote a culture of sharing, and I think that's what our department does very well. When we've tried activities that we believe have worked well, we will share it with our colleagues, either at a departmental meeting or literally by way of, here's a copy of my lesson plan and the resources, I found this really worked well, why don't you try it?
Well, the problems for me, being relatively new, is that you can never get all the marking done. I don't see how teachers can do the marking, and it's everybody says that, but it hasn't been in the past addressed. And I had a very inspirational day on an RS Today course about how to cope with that.
Obviously, RS teachers have an enormous number of books to mark every week, because in Key Stage 3 at any rate, we usually, I think it's the case in most schools, you only see the classes for one lesson a week. The plan is to mark every 3 weeks diagnostically and just tick that work's been completed in the intervening 2 weeks. And this does help.
Although all 5 RE teachers at Marlbury are specialists, many teachers come to RE from other subject areas.
For me, history and social science, which is one of my first degrees is social science, history and social science, all about making sense of who we are, where we are and what we're doing. And religion is just, if you like, a more refined, even way of doing that.
As few words as
The 2004 QCA report recognises that in many schools there is a poor ratio of specialist teachers to pupils in RE.
Being a non-specialist RE teacher can be quite daunting, but the first thing I would say is that in a sense we're all sort of non-specialists. I have to teach Hinduism and Sikhism, and I'm neither Hindu nor a Sikh, nor have I studied those religions in great depth. So every RE teacher has to build up their confidence and build up their subject knowledge. But I think what's important is to represent the religions you're teaching with integrity, and there are various ways in which you can seek help to do that. One is obviously by visiting other schools, particularly through the beacon status.
A website which I think is very useful is the National Curriculum in Action website. That's really valuable, particularly for non-specialists, because what you have on that site is examples of pupils' work. You've got the teacher's commentary, what they did to prepare that lesson. You've also got the marking of that piece of work, and you've got the teacher's analysis and what level they thought that pupil's work was.
Beyond the usual resources of the internet and ICT, Marlbury sees its local community as a resource. Back on the trip, the girls of Year 9 continue their day with a visit to a mosque.
Okay, and this is a main gate. In both way, top here, you're gonna see left side here. Could you repeat it? Bismillah. And one now, what's this mean there? Yes, yeah, in the name of Allah. Okay?
It is worth taking your time and carefully thinking about which resources, because a little bit of money can go a long way. There's lots of help out there. Some authorities have their own advisor, or at least somebody with an advisory support role for that subject. But where you've got an advisor, then I would say to people, use them and find out what they can do to support you. Failing that, then you've got the internet out there, which has got access to lots of the main organisations. Now, one of the organisations, Professional Council Ferrari, has got its own website, and that will provide you with a whole wealth of information about how to support your department, courses that you can go on, magazines that you can subscribe to, and so on. So I think that's a very important port of call. Other subject associations, like the Association of RE Inspectors, Advisors and Consultants, or ARIAC for short, that will give you links.
So Islam regards men and women equal religiously. They have separate social roles.
It's very easy, I think, when you become a head of department to get very wrapped up in the administrative side of it. You can't do it on your own, and whether your team is 4 specialists, 5 specialists, or a whole load of non-specialists, you've still got to motivate them, because you must never lose sight of the fact that it's all about the learning.
This is one of the mosques that I've seen colours on, a lot of colours. No matter what religion you are, you should always have knowledge of other religions, because there's a lot of people with other different religions around you, and you need to know these facts, and so you should have respect for other religions.
On my trip to the temple changed how I thought of Hindus, because the way that they prayed was really different, and the way that they were chanting and everything. They weren't exactly chanting, but they were singing along, and it wasn't how we thought it would be.
It's better to see the actions than read about it, then you get a clear understanding of it, yeah.
As RE continues to play a significant role in the inclusion agenda, Marlbury have again found their programme of trips particularly valuable in promoting respect and religious harmony. Last year, these girls went on a cross-curricular trip to Canterbury Cathedral.
When I visited last year, I thought it was just a one big square or rectangle where people sit down, but there's so many sections to it for different things. Like there's a little place where the priest can talk to the people.
The baptism as well. There's a little where they baptise people, and little kids and older people if you want to convert religions. We saw there's like a big bath.
One of the things that people tend to think about religious education, it's all about learning about religions, and yes, that is a very important part. But there's another equally important part of religious education, and that's learning from religions. So when you go out on a visit, an important thing to do is to give pupils time to sit and reflect on what they've been taught about this particular building, to think about how it might feel to be a member of that faith. That's such an important thing that some people tend to forget. They're so engrossed with learning about the facts and so on about a religion that they forget that it's important that they learn from the religions as well and learn to understand what it means to be a member of that faith.